Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm April May Wastard and today I'm going to show you how to paint this cute little ladybug rock, so stay tuned. So I first painted my rock black and then sketched out my design using a white charcoal pencil. All of my supplies are linked down in the description below. And it's pretty easy. It's just a flower made of heart-shaped petals. You can see the charcoal pencil's really easy to erase off of a smooth rock like this. And this is a mold that I got off of Amazon. Again, that link is listed below in the description. I also have the traceable for this rock. It is linked below to my Patreon page. It is free to everybody. You do not need to be a Patreon subscriber to get the traceables. So then I found a paintbrush that had a skinny end to it, and I'm going to use that to make dots around my flower. And I start by dotting one side, then the other, and then going in the opposite direction, and then I'm splitting those two dots. And then I'm going to keep doing that until I get the correct spacing. And then I'm going to go up from there, splitting those dots. Like going up in between the center of those. And I'm just using the end of a paintbrush, but you can use dotting tools. I have those, but they're not, they were down in my studio, because I'm in my temporary studio right now, and I just didn't feel like going down there because it's rainy. So I just decided, it's proof that you can use whatever. You don't have to have the dotting tools. You don't have to spend the money on those. You can use toothpicks. You can use the end of your paintbrushes. You can use pencils, crochet hooks, just anything that's the right size, whatever size dots you want. You can make them big or small, or you could make multiple sizes. So it's completely up to you, and it's your rock. You do what you want with it, your design. There's no hard and fast rules when it comes to rock painting or painting in general. You set your own rules. The only thing about doing this is that you have to be careful about where you put your fingers, because you don't want to touch your dots once you've painted them on. And if you have like a Lazy Susan or a turntable, that would come in really handy. I didn't have mine at the time, so I just turned my paper. And you want to make sure that your dots go all the way up to the flower. Even if you have to kind of paint in a little half dot or paint over part of the dot, you want them to bump into that flower. It just looks better instead of having kind of a halo effect around the flower. So somehow I've didn't turn recording on for the first layer of red paint for the flower, but there's a couple of layers on here. So now you could have painted the flower white because it's a black background. I wouldn't have had to put on as many layers. But I get lazy sometimes and I just paint. And I take my paint right up to the edge of the petal, and I leave kind of a space between petals. That way I don't lose my design, and I know where the end of the petal is. And I'm going to outline this in black anyway, plus I'm going to shade it. So that gives me a really good indication of where it is. You can see right there where there's a void in the paint between the petals. I'm sorry, my parrot is making all kinds of racket. So now I've got my Liquitex black airbrush paint, and I'm going to trap the petals in black. And I really love this paint because it's very opaque, so it's very dark, but it's real like an ink. It's a little thicker than an ink consistency, but it flows really well off your paintbrush. You can see how I can pull a pretty long line without it starting to chatter or break up. So now I'm going to take white and fill in the center. Now I'm taking some red and just making sure that my corners there at the end of the petals are painted in properly. So now that my center is dry, I'm going to go and put another layer of white paint. So now I took a little bit of black and added it to my red to create my shadow color. And I'm going to start shading in around the petals. And in order to achieve this, I did create a glaze. And one more coat of white in the center to make sure it's bright white. So now to paint on the ladybug, and I just kind of free-handed this ladybug. It's basically just 2 circles and then some kind of elliptical shaped wings. Now I did not shadow underneath my ladybug because I liked the bright white around her, and I didn't want to dirty it up by putting a shadow in, but it would probably still look good if you shadowed around it if you wanted to. And then the little antennas, and I'm using my Holotype 000, which is also linked below. So as I finish up the final details of this rock, I just want to take a moment to thank you so much for your support. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.